Hey everyone, Eggman here with another video, and today we have a top 16 breakdown for the Play TCG Level Up Expo Treasure Cup that happened this past weekend. It was 256 players with 8 rounds of Swiss to a top 16 that we see here today. So real quick before we go into it, one, if you guys appreciate these breakdowns, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button. I really do appreciate it. I know like 30% of my viewers hit that subscribe button, so it would mean a lot to me. Also, just big shout outs to Play TCG for not only hosting the event, but also giving me the raw deck list. A lot of them were just hand lists, so I did put all of them into the online deck builder, so make sure to check those out. Links to all this is in the description too on Eggman Events too. Has all the details, and I also did get the YouTube. I did get the matches as well for the top 16 and got some recordings, so that's already on the YouTube. If you guys haven't checked those out, those are also there too. So I was at this event, but I did not get a ticket. I played at the Dragon Ball Sunday event as well, so I did get I was able to see the players and see some matches, but I was not able to participate at this time. So anyways, getting into this top 16 that we do have 9 Captain Kids, we do have 2 Kaidos, 2 Luffys, a Zoro, a Law, and a Don Quixote do Flamingo. So a good variety of leaders that aren't named Eustace Captain Kid. He is pretty much, I think, pretty much all the events in the last 2 weeks or so that I've seen, he's had at least half the tops, if not more, and he's won every one of them. So very, very strong right now. I think a lot of people have found not only the deck builds, but I think they know how to play with this leader now that we've seen it a couple times, and it's very, very strong at doing a lot of things. It just does everything. That's the thing, right? It has the potential to do everything you need it to do, and that's pretty great for a deck like this. So we're gonna go over the top placing lists, going over starting off with Jackson Huang's first place Captain Kid, as we were talking about. So real quick, this is I did do an interview with him as well. That will be in the description as if you guys want his opinion on it from talking to him and watching him play as well. The big thing for this deck is it does not run the 7-drop kit. It only runs the 8-drop. And kind of the reasoning for it is that he said that, Trafalgar Law was just kind of better for what he was doing. He was really great at just putting down a lot of tiny bodies early game. And then you get a lot of swings with advantage. He'd swing with his killer blocker anytime it made sense, anytime you could get some advantage from it, he'd do it, and then you'd play Trafalgar Law, bounce it back to hand, and then play an Okiku in its spot, which Okiku's really great at being able to just swing. Doesn't have counter power, so being able to switch that out is really great, and just a lot of cool little plays. So highly recommend seeing him play. He has a lot of cool techs, and the way he plays is pretty unique as well. So don't have a lot more to say about Kid. It's a good deck. That shouldn't be surprising by now. We're pretty deep into this format, and we only have one big event here left in North America, and I'm pretty sure it's going to win that one too. We'll see if that happens. So anyways, going into our second place, this is Jeff's second place Kaido, and this is, I believe, the highest placing Kaido has gotten, at least for the English meta, ever. I think most of them have just kind of whittled out at top 4, but top 2 is fantastic. So big accomplishment for Jeff on that one. Really, really cool. Got a lot of match. Three of the top 16 matches that I've recorded had him in it. So if you guys want to see him play, there's a lot of them. And something I noticed from watching and commentating over those games too is that he was really great at capitalizing on not seeing Onigashima Island. It's not something you're going to find every game. And he really had a lot of backup plans with Sasaki and Jack, both these cards being able to get some ramp potential and get you there is really, really strong. Only running 3 Blast Breaths as well. Most people just auto-include 4, so a good little tech there. And then just a lot of vanilla, so a 4 and 2 here also. So really interesting to see that. And he was not afraid to say, you know what, I didn't find Oni. So instead of playing a king that could unramp me, I'm just going to play Babanuki instead. It's more or less the same thing. And then I get a lot of advantage from it too. And the Urashima as well is just really, really great at it's just a big body. And it's able to win the game too. If you do -7, this can be a big 9k swing. Or if you have 3 extra Dawn, it can be a 12k swing. They have to try to get out of. And it's very, very tricky at times too. So highly recommend watching his matches as well. Congrats to Jeff on the highest placing Kaido list in North America that I've known of. So really big accomplishment there. Next up, we have Brandon's top 4 Luffy. We did have a couple Luffys in this top 16, so happy to see one get in the top 4. I almost got the recording for this match, but we switched to the Kaido one last minute. But pretty standard list. This is pretty similar to what I run in a lot of ways. I'd say the big differences. I'm down for one of the 1-drop Nami. No more, no less. One of these guys. You guys have persuaded me personally, so good card there. Usopp instead of the Beppo are the film guy. I don't know why I'm forgetting his name. I think that's Usopp's fine. I don't super like him, but he's a 2k counter, and if you play him out, you could draw with the effect, so it's not too bad. And really kind of going up into the big vanilla. So running also 3 of the Yossops, which is a 6-drop 8k, as well as the Ben Beckman. So only thing about Yossop is that it does, Kaido can get rid of it pretty easily, and but it is a 6/8. So outside of that, it's pretty hard to get rid of. Blue can also get rid of this too, but not too easily. And blue is not as common as other colors. So. And then a 1-2-4 split between Jambé, Red Hawk, and Jet Pistol. This is usually what I run. I think it's a pretty good split between there. And I do like the 2 Trafalgar Laws. I think this is a really great card for the matchups you see. Great for like comboing with either the Shanks, your Nico Robins, or even your Jet Pistols to get rid of some 8 drops. Sometimes you don't want to drop Otama and you have enough Dawn to kind of hang out with it. So a 4 drop that's also a 5k body you can start attacking with next turn is usually kind of worth it. So I like Luffy. I don't think that's a mystery anymore. And just big congrats to Brandon on their finish there. Moving on to the top 16. So we have 3 top 16 lists we're going over. They're all the singleton leaders. So we have 1 Zoro who got into the top 16. We do have a match of that playing. And spoilers, they didn't win. But this is a kind of like we see like a bunch of the 2-drop kind of rush ones. And Vivi and Sai, both of them being able to be played on turn 2, and then you can boost them with your leader effect for free to make them 5k, make them start doing damage, is quite good for the deck. Sanji also technically fits the bill for this. You don't always want to, but sometimes you just play him on turn 2. You don't use the rush because you just don't care to at that time, and then you can start attacking with it the next turn too. Nico Robin at 3, Law at 4. I'm actually kind of surprised. Sorry, the Law's at 2, the 4-drop Law at 2. I'm surprised to see this at 2. I don't see many Zoro lists with this one either. And then Luffy and Zoro. So this is definitely a lot more of a low to the ground build, just being really aggressive and trying to get a lot of value for it, especially with 4 Usopps, 4 Sanjis, and 4 Brooks as well. So bunch of 2k counters that are available to you to try to get out of it. And then a single round table to assumedly try to get rid of the 8-drop kid if needed, if you don't have the Jet Pistol and Otama. So I'm guessing this deck specifically had a lot of time after the 8-drop came out. So the Alan decided, you know what, we're going to put these laws in and then help us get this Jet Pistol and get there, and probably did help it in a couple matches because, again, Kid was the most represented leader at this event, so you do have to make sure you are comfortable with that against that matchup, and I think these cards are ones that help you adjust to those as well. So big congrats to Alan for their finish there with Zoro being the only one. And we also do have Justin with their top 16 Law. We did get a match with Justin earlier in the day, so we do have like round 7 and 8 there, which will be linked in this document too. I'll do that. I'll go back and do that. But if you guys want to see this deck being played, I'd say this is slowly, like I've always been saying, like Trafalgar Law does not have like a set deck list. I think a lot of people have their own flavors to it, but we've slowly kind of congealed to, like, I'd say like 40 to 45 cards that are pretty similar. The ones that stand out for me in this deck list is 1, the Gordon promo, running it at 1. This is okay for what it is. We can't search it at all, but being able to give something minus 3k can be important, especially because they do run 4 of these Nico Robins, so you can combo the effect of Gordon with Nico Robin to get something that 6k or less, which is great, which is a great kind of pool to start hitting with. It also obviously works with Jet Pistol, so you can use Gordon and this to get something 9k or more. So sometimes you don't want to like use Otama, and it's just a 1-drop too, and you put it back to your deck. So the other weird thing is, like, sometimes this deck like doesn't care to like, sometimes your board's too wide, so having like Gordon replace itself kind of makes sense, but there's just some weird synergy with this card in general. But I like it at like a 1 or 2. I just wish it had a counter cost. It's a little rough that it doesn't, especially since like it's like I would rather this be like a 0 with this active main and a counter cost of 1 than nothing, but it's what it is. I also do like Kid. This is probably like one of the bigger decision points for Trafalgar Laws right now is, do you play the 8-drop? And normally if you do, you play 2 of them, but man, this can just win you the game on the spot a lot of the times too. Can be found with Bonnie as well, and being able to get a lot of blockers in this deck with Trafalgar Law bouncing into Tony's and Beige and just everything else. I think it's a really good add. And then Killer, which is not a common pick, but it can do really well, especially like in the mirror. If they have some 3-drops out, you can get rid of them. So in all, I think this is a strong list. And again, congrats to Justin on their finish. It's going to be really interesting to see how Trafalgar does in set 2. There's a lot of like reasons that the deck is harder to play, but also a lot of reasons that it's easier to play. So it's going to be interesting to see where it kind of settles out. And then lastly, we do have Josh's top 16 Doffy. Only Doffy in this top 16. And we haven't seen Doffy in a minute. A lot of these other events have not had them top. But I'd say this is a pretty solid list. And immediately what catches my eye for this one is there's no event cards in the entire list. It's only character cards. And to kind of change that up, we do have the Jinbeis, and man, I really don't know why this Jinbei isn't a 4 war. Like, I mean, maybe like the art is like, oh, after, like, I don't know exactly the lore reasons, but man, this would be an infinitely better card, especially for this deck if it did have 7 warlords on it, because that would just help you out with your leader. I know like the promo one does, and that's still going to be a really good boon for this deck, but it's just too bad this one doesn't have it. Other than that, I think like it's like the bottom end of this deck is pretty solid, all the way up to like the Draco Mihawk. I think that's understood. The Jinbei kind of represents some event cards, especially because it can't be countered with, but the removal from this is great, especially since it's off a trigger. Running the Pacifista line with the 4 Kumas and 4 of the Vanillas. 3 Virgos, which I think is almost solidly a staple for the deck, and then 4 of the Draco Mihawks with no of the Don Quixote do Flamingos. Again, Mihawk is really great, but sometimes you gotta make sure you can actually play them, because they get stuck in your hand sometimes, and that really stinks. So, but just big congrats to Josh on this one. I think Doffy is pretty. The deck lists for these are pretty similar to each other, but being able to play the deck, I think, is a whole nother story. So. Anyways, I think that's going to be it for us today. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to Play TCG for the list. If you guys appreciate this, again, make sure to check out the website and hit that like and subscribe button. And that's going to be it for us today. So again, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you all next time.
Damn it. Damn it.